Okay, good morning, everybody. I am Ron Rapaport. I'm down here in outside of Jacksonville, Florida. I was diagnosed in 2019 with inductive uh, carcinoma, invasive carcinoma, and I was alone at the time. Uh, Male breast cancer was not on my radar, and I got a hold of Peggy when I was searching through the internet, and she was kind enough to call me back, and we developed a nice relationship. I went to the meeting. We had a conference meeting down in Orlando, and that was great. And I aspire to what Brett says: no man should be alone when hearing the words they have breast cancer. And so I joined the group and made it a point to be an advocate for malebreastcancerhappens.org. And I'd like to talk about the group that we have here at malebreastcancerhappens.org. So without further ado, we will go to the next slide, which is our men's only open mic group. And thanks to Michael Singer, who happens to be here, he actually came up with the name Open Mic. So I don't know if it's because his name is Mike and it just came up or whatever, but anyway, it sounded good, so we went with it. And we've been doing this for I'd say about 3 years. And I did want to also say I was diagnosed in 2019. I had a mastectomy, and then the cancer came back in 2022, and I had to have chemo and radiation, and they took 9 lymph nodes, which meant in my case, I got lymphedema. So I'm still going through that, but that's still being treated. Okay, that's enough of my history. Let's talk about the men's only open mic group. So we do meet monthly on the Zoom platform, and any man with breast cancer is welcome, whether they're affiliated with us or not. I send out emails to various groups around the country, letting them know that we're there, and sending out our Zoom link. So any man with breast cancer can join us. They don't have to be affiliated with the group at all. Our meetings are not recorded, so everything that's said at the meeting stays in the meeting, and that makes everybody more comfortable. We don't allow any religious or political talk, so it's not nobody argues about anything. We're pretty much there just to support everybody. The men are notified via email that we're going to be having a meeting, and it's also in our secret Facebook group, the message, and through, like I said, through other organizations. If somebody wants to call in, that's available to do, and they can just sit there and listen if they want. If they don't want to be identified, we'll ask them to identify themselves. If they don't want to, that's fine too. And if we go to the next slide. So the topics discussed. So we're discussing topics that the men, want to have discussed. And some of them are, does your doctor know enough about you? We find that some of the men were not diagnosed at all. The doctor, their doctor doesn't really know much about their breast history. So we talk about that. Several of the men have been misdiagnosed. Collateral damage of the disease is another thing we talk about. In my case, lymphedema is a collateral damage. There's other collateral damages. There's family issues. There's marital issues. There's, again, below that, medication side effects. Several of the men are taking all kinds of medications to keep the cancer away. I am myself. That leads to a whole host of side effects, and they have somebody to talk to, somebody who's been perhaps on that medication that can give them some insight. We've had situations where men have had liver problems, kidney problems, that sort of thing. And so we can give other men who are taking that same drug a heads up. We share our personal stories, our struggles and triumphs, which is always nice. A lot of the men just want to get something off their chest, and they feel a lot better after the meeting, because it's not that easy to find people next door that have male breast cancer at all. So we are doing a good service by providing this platform. I know when I was diagnosed, I really had nobody to talk to about it that knew about it, and I had a friend that actually told me to call a friend of his up that had it several years ago, which made me feel really good that I could talk to somebody who had it. Hormonal therapy effects. A lot of our men are on anti-estrogen drugs, tamoxifen, Arimidex, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of side effects with that. So the men talk about that and share their experiences. We encourage each other. Some of the men at times at the meeting are very low, they're very down. And it's always great to have people who have come through this, give them encouragement and spur them on. And that's always rewarding to hear that. And we've got feedback that the men, several of the men have really appreciated what we're doing. There's always the fear of recurrence. And in my case, it did reoccur. So we talk about that and try to give our advice on how to deal with that. A lot of the men find that encouraging as well. And if we can go to the next slide, which is open mic continued. Be the next one. The one that starts with resilience. Resiliency is another topic of discussion, and also breast reconstruction. Some of the men have had reconstruction surgery, so they tell us about that, and they give their experiences, and perhaps anybody who wants to know about it or do it, they have somebody to talk to on that issue. Lymphedema is another, lymphedema education is another topic we discuss. I specifically discuss it because it's pretty personal to me, and we go over what can happen when lymph nodes are taken and what lymphedema is all about. And there's a lot of new things that are going on with lymphedema. I personally have had lymphedema transplant surgery, which is kind of funny because yesterday I saw my cardiologist and told him about it, and he never heard of it. He looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I told him about it. So that's rather new. So we're trying to be on the cutting edge of new things coming out regarding male breast cancer. Sexual issues regarding the disease is another issue we talk about. That can be a problem for a lot of men. And insurance issues. People are going through a lot of problems with getting their insurance to pay for things and things like that. So anybody who has any experience in that can help the other person out. We have a brother-to-brother program where new members of the group are matched up with existing members with a similar situation to talk to and learn from. So if somebody is new and they get with Peggy, Peggy will call me or email me, let me know who the new brother is, and I'll get a hold of them, find out what their situation is, what their age group is, what their family situation is, and try to match them with somebody who's had that similar issue. For example, I think I did that with somebody who had inflammatory breast cancer, and which is not that common, and we matched them up with somebody to talk to. So that's what that's about. And our podcast group. So we have members, we've taken members derived from the open mic group and the general membership who are willing to share their stories and make themselves vulnerable on podcasts nationally and globally. So we we try to seek podcasts unrelated to cancer, such as sports, self-improvement podcasts, current event platforms that will garner a male audience, as well as podcasts that garner a female audience, because we want to connect with all the people out there that don't know about this disease, and there's a lot of people that don't know about it. So we go on various podcasts and we tell our story. Our audience this year has included, of course, the United States, New Zealand. We were on a podcast in New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Canada, and we even went to the Philippines. We've been on podcasts in the Philippines. I have personally been on podcasts and have a few coming up this month and next month that I'll go on and I'll tell my story and that type of thing, and then we'll replay it for the group. And that's pretty much it. And does anybody have any questions? Any questions out there? Yeah. Becky.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So just with since we've met you and everything, and we started the you guys started doing the open mic and everything, what really drew you to start doing your own podcast? It's a Rap with Rap. I had to make that slide for you because I think what you're doing is great. You're taking something from a negative and turning it into a positive. So
well, I thought the podcast was a good idea, and I never thought of having my own podcast, and I believe somebody on the podcast group, I don't know who it was, I don't think it was Peggy, I think it was somebody else, said, hey, why don't you start your own podcast? And I said, nah, I don't think so. I don't really want to do that. And then I thought about it, and I said, oh, maybe I should give it a try. So I went out and bought the equipment and just started doing it. And my thinking was, I don't want to really make it all about male breast cancer, or all about cancer. So I changed the format and the motif to be people overcoming adversities and talking about that. And it started expanding, and I think we've been doing it in March, it'd be 3 years. The podcast has taken off. It's called It's a Rap with Rap. And we're on Apple, Google, all the major platforms, and it's taken off worldwide. So we're in about 70 countries. We've had thousands and thousands of downloads, and of course, whenever I can, I do mention malebreastcancerhappens.org. I do kind of try to interject what I'm going through into the podcast. Some I can't do because obviously the subject matter doesn't lend itself to that. But I've had several people that have worked with our group. I have actually Dr. Charlie Ferrer, who's coming up this month. I'll be interviewing her. I've had Carrie Madrid, who's helped us out in the past. I hope to have Sherry Matthews down the road, probably Peggy and Brett down the road. But not all the episodes are dealing with that. I'm dealing with all kinds of different issues. As a matter of fact, I had a 9/11 survivor on where the plane hit the building. He was on the 78th floor and he rescued people. I actually have an interesting one coming up. I have a gentleman who wrote a book. He's a Holocaust. He's the son of two Holocaust survivors, and he wrote a very good book, The Joy of Pain. He will be on the podcast. So it's just people overcoming different adversities, and that's how I got involved in it. But really the genesis of it was from malebreastcancerhappens.org, where I just came up with the idea, let's go on podcasts, and everybody thought that was a great idea.
You're definitely doing amazing things, Ron. I can attest to that. We have 2 new survivors that have just contacted yesterday, and one early this morning. His wife has reached out. He just appeared on their news station. He's actually stage 4 because for 7 years, it's a familiar story here. For 7 years, he had his lump and did nothing about it. he wasn't so lucky. He's been diagnosed with stage 4. And Brett's one of the lucky ones. And I mean, that 7-year mark seems to be something that's getting to be crazy, because as we can say to all of our men, if you find something, do something, please. And that's what this whole day is about, getting the message out there. But I can attest that, thank God to Ron and Mr. Michael Singer here for helping us to continue to get all the men together and at least have an outlet to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might also add, I started a Facebook group, and we have about 2,000 people in that. I have an Instagram. We're on Instagram, and I also went on Twitter. So we're reaching, right now, I think we're reaching 10 to 12,000 people.
Wow.
And we're putting out, I'm always putting out stuff about male breast cancer and lymphedema, but a lot on male breast cancer, and it seems to be getting through. And I would hope that due to what we're doing and with Michael's help and everybody else, we're getting the word out there, and people are learning about it and knowing about it, and it's not becoming like something nobody ever heard of, some strange thing like, what are you talking about? We're trying to make it as common as it is. It happens, and it shouldn't be a shock that it does exist.
You're doing a wonderful job, because we're
Thank
seeing
you.
it on a global basis, and through Google alerts every day. I'm getting new men that are finding us because they're Googling male breast cancer, and guess what? Male breast cancer pops up first.
Right.
They connect with us. We connect them with you all, and it's the first thing they say. I can't believe I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to make all the men understand. But most of all, we have to make sure that, just like us women check our breast monthly, we have our breastselfexam.org website. Men need to be checking their breasts monthly also. I mean, Ron, how did you know that a second go round happened? Were you checking yourself, or?
I was checking myself, but I got to tell you, actually the oncologist found it because it was way on the side of my underarm, and
Wow.
it was a little bit swollen, and I just didn't realize it, because sometimes you can have a little swelling and then you can't really see it. It wasn't that pronounced, and she picked it up. She didn't think it was anything, but she sent me in for a ultrasound and a biopsy, and then it came back positive, and yeah.
Thank God she did. And again, that's it. It's what we preach. If you find something, the biggest thing is do something about it. Don't sit there and think it'll just go away, because it won't, but you may go away. So
Yeah.
we don't
And I
want
might
you-
also add, thank you, Peggy, for all you do, and Brett for all you do. I mean, you guys are amazing. I know Peggy personally. I think you pick up the phone like 24/7 almost, because people are calling her from all over the world. So they could be calling you at 2 a.m. I don't know how you ever get in sleep, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But she does a fantastic job. Brett has a family, and he takes, valuable time to help to do things for the group. And Michael Singer helps out whenever he can. And it's great that we have guys and girls out there that are helping us.
And it takes a village, as they say, to continue to build this world, that letting people know that men have breasts too. That's our motto here. Are there other questions for Ron? Anybody have? Please feel free. We've got a little bit of time. He's got about 6 minutes left.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, and see if anybody else would like to ask a question.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Ron, nice to meet you. I'm Pablo Leone. I'm a medical oncologist. I wanted to say thank you for doing this. This is super nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Congratulations, and keep up the good work.
I will. And you're up in Boston at Dana-Farber?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he'll be speaking here soon too. He's going to talk at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So this is wonderful to get knowledge from all of you. But
Yes, thanks for inviting me, Peggy. Good to see you. Good to see you, Michael. Right.
you too to joining us. So this
Yeah.
is wonderful.
Mm.
Anybody else have any other questions? Oh,
Yeah, Mike.
Michael.
Not so much a question, but just to say over the past years, to see all the men who come, some, come regularly, some come in and out. You'll see them once and then don't see them for several months. It's just an outlet. Easy to get to. The conversation always flows. Some people there for the first time had never heard about male breast cancer and their diagnosis, and it's a nice venue for them to reach out and hear some personal stories, like you said, that they're not alone, and what types of treatments that they might be facing in the future. So it's a good outlet. Ron does a fantastic job. He's a one-man show, Ron. Let me tell you, he does a great job, and continued success, Ron.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. And these meetings we can have 15 people at one time and 3 the next and 6 the next. But we're not looking at numbers. We're just looking to help people. And if we can help one person, that's fine. And that's how I view the podcast and all the other stuff. It's not about numbers. It's, we don't have to be have 1 million viewers. We just need to reach people and help people. And like I said, even if we only help one person, at least it's all worth it. We've affected somebody. So that's my thinking anyway. And I'm sure that's probably Peggy's thinking as well, and Brett.
We do. We can't do it alone, but the more voices, the more people we're telling. One example where our donations come in through the PayPal account, I had some issues with the account, but on Monday spent almost an hour talking with Kanika. And she is now spreading the message about male breast cancer to all of her fellow employees. And she's going to have her supervisor call me tomorrow, because we told them we'd do a special Zoom with some of you men talking to their men to tell them to start checking, because they have a huge wellness program at PayPal that they try to, enforce. And she said, all October, they talked to nothing but us women about breast cancer. And lo and behold, you're one of our accounts and you're all about the male breast cancer. Our men need to know here at PayPal. And we have thousands that work for the company that have no clue that they should be checking themselves or whatever. I showed her how to get to the breast self-exam website, and how on that site we have the cards they can download that tell with over 22 different languages, because she says we're global. I says, well, here, you can share our cards with them too. So you never know who you're going to be talking to on a daily basis, that when we're wearing our shirts out and stuff, people do stop you. People ask about it, and it's a way to be able to tell the story. So, the more we can continue to do that, the more lives that are going to be saved. And that's what we want to hear. We've lost way too many of our men just because they weren't aware. And again, like I say, the newest one I get message through Male Breast Cancer Happens this morning. It was at, as you said, Rod, this was at 3:33 this morning. And I responded to her immediately, and she sent me the news link of him being on TV talking about it, because in his city, they didn't know that men could get breast cancer. How many times do we still hear that all these years later, that people don't get it? And the bottom line is, Brett says, and Ron says, and Michael says, it's a people disease, people. If you have breasts, you can get this disease. So again, I can't thank everyone enough that are joining today, especially all of our specialists and researchers that are continuing to come up with new innovative ways to treat our men, for being here today, because knowledge is power. And that's what today is all about, getting the knowledge out there. So Thank you all again.